This is the Coach's Wife Life podcast. I'm Kristen Eargle, your host, a former TV sports reporter and fellow college football coach's wife. I'll go one-on-one with the strong women who are the backbone of college athletics and athletics of all levels. And now, Coach's Wife Life.
This podcast is brought to you by Ruler of Hope. Ruler of Hope is a nonprofit that supports medically fragile children. If you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation, you can use Venmo at Ruler-Hope or online at rulerofhope.org.
Hey there, I'm Kristen Eargle, and we have an exciting podcast ahead. But first, I want to talk about something we all know way too much about: moving. Just the thought of that can bring an unsettling emotion. Well, I found a team that can take that load off your plate. It's D1 Relocation. This group can do it all. They can organize your move, coordinate with a moving company, and a trusted real estate agent. They can actually vet key household partners such as schools, insurance agents, physicians in the area. They can even help set up your Wi-Fi and water. It's incredible. So I've come to know this team, which is actually founded by a coach's wife. I think you should check it out. Whether you're looking to move now or in the future, it's d1relocation.com. Now on to our awesome podcast.
Well, I am so excited to have my next guest. It is Amanda Golding, UTEP men's basketball head coach's wife. Your husband is Joe Golding. And honestly, we could do this in person, but I said, hey, you know what? Let's just be in the comfortable of our own homes here in El Paso, Texas. Thank you so much for being on.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I'm a little nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. It's going to be fun. I love your orange, by the way. We actually look good because we're wearing all the colors. We just need a little navy involved. Your backdrop looks good, by the way. I like that. Okay, so tell me what it's like. Describe yourself. You're a head coach's wife, a basketball head coach's wife. So I love to talk about basketball. I'm a huge basketball fan, by the way.
Okay.
What do you like on game day? Give me 3 words.
Okay, 3 words. I'm excited on game day. I love game day. I get to go see my friends. I get to sit with my friends. I get to watch a sport that I love. I get to watch my husband do what he loves. My kids are always usually with me. So I love game day. So excited is definitely one of my words. I am competitive too. Like I'm ready to win. I'm ready to do what I need to do to help the team win. And I would also say grateful. I'm super grateful that we get to live this life. And so yeah, those are my 3 words.
All right. What's coach like on game day?
He is laser focused. Do not ask that man to do anything that does not relate to that game that day. That is because he is only focused on the game. And I would say another word for him is also competitive. Obviously, he's going to do whatever it takes to win that game. And that's where his mindset is. And energetic. He is very passionate about having energy. He wants his staff to have energy. He wants his players to have energy. So that's him on game day.
I love it. Okay, so I'm going to go through some stats here. You guys have directed the Miners to 3 winning seasons in 4 years, picking up at least 18 victories in each of those campaigns. Under your tutelage, 9 Miners have been combined to secure 12 Conference USA postseason honors. Before that, you guys were at Abilene Christian and went to the NCAA tournament 2 of the final 3 seasons with the program, and an upset win over 3-seed Texas and the 2021 Big Dance. And that's actually your alma mater, by the way, which we will hear about. Okay, so why does his formula work?
You know, I think that he does a really good job of building a really good team culture. He really gets those kids to play for each other and for him. And I think those kids know that he cares about them more than just a basketball player. You know, he cares about what's going on in their life, and he wants to help them succeed even after they leave wherever we're at. And, you know, I just think they want to play for each other. They want to play for him. And he's very big on defense. And so our teams are usually, you know, great defenders, and it makes them a tough team to play. But yeah, that win at in the NCAA tournament over Texas that's just a day that you wish you could just relive over and over again. It was amazing.
It is. Okay, so tell me about you. I know you're a native Texan. Where did you grow up? Did you ever envision this life?
So I grew up in Garland, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. And my entire family, like aunts, uncles, cousins, grandma, grandpa, all live within probably a 5-mile radius of where I grew up. And so that's actually where I met my husband. We met teaching high school at Saxe High School. And I just envisioned that was going to be our life forever. He was going to coach high school basketball and we were going to live in, my hometown area. And I was a cheerleading coach and a math teacher. And I just thought that's what we were going to do. And this will tell you a lot about the man that I'm married to. We got married in March of 2004, and we had just bought a house and moved in. And 2 months after getting married, he comes home one day and he goes, "You're never going to believe what I did." And I said, "What?" And he said, "I quit my job today." And I was like, "Come again?" And he said, "Yeah, I quit my job." He's like, I want to coach college basketball. I don't want to coach high school basketball. And, I'm wanting to, we're newlyweds, so I want to be this supportive wife. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, we can't afford this. Like, we're on 2 teacher salaries. We just bought a house. I'm still paying on student loans, and so he went to be a volunteer coach at Collin County Community College with Jim Sagona. And thankfully, his cousin was doing a great job in the real estate world at the time. And so he kind of hired my husband part-time just to help supplement the income. And so we survived for the next 10 months. He volunteer coached at Collin County Junior College. And 9-10 months later, he got an assistant coaching job at Abilene Christian. So the rest was history after that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So when
I was not ready to go, but it worked out.
You had told yourself, like, hey, in a few years, you're going to be the head coach's wife at a Division I program at UTEP. You'd be like, I wouldn't have believed you. I mean, did you ever see this coming?
No, I really didn't. But I'm so grateful that it did. Yeah. It's changed our life in so many ways. We've met so many wonderful people along the way. We've gotten to do things we would have never been able to do. And so, God has a plan. God knows what he's doing. And so it's all worked out and it's been great.
Incredible. And you have 2 kids. Tell me about them.
So we have a 19-year-old son that we just took to college last weekend. So, it's been about 6 days. So I'm hanging in there. And then we have a 16-year-old that is a sophomore in high school.
Wow. Very cool. Okay. So I asked every guest, and it's been this way for, I don't know how many podcasts I had, 9 years or so. This question, which is, what is the toughest adversity you've faced, and what or who did you rely on to get through those moments? So what comes to mind when you hear that question?
Well, I mean, recently dropping our kid off at college was a major adversity. No, it was great. But it is sad and it's really hard. So wait for that. I would just say the moving from place to place is always our biggest adversity as a family. It's hard to move, especially with kids. And, it's hard to get acclimated into a new city and to make new friends and to work at new places. And so every time we've moved, it makes our family grow closer together. You just kind of cling to each other because that's all you have, in the moment. And so I would say that is our biggest adversity, is when we have to move to a new city. And, we've just learned to rely on each other, and, it's made us closer as husband and wife. It's made us closer with our kids. And then of course, just, whenever you're somewhere and things aren't going great, maybe the season's not going great, that's always tough. But again, you just cling to each other and just lots of prayer, and you just get through it.
How do you think it's impacted your children to walk through this and to go into new areas and all of that? I mean, has it been a positive thing? I know that there's hard things in the moment when they're in the transition period and you're sitting there going, okay, I'm trying to help you find friends, and you're praying about it, that kind of thing. But do you think ultimately, I get this question a lot, like, how does this impact our kids? What type of impact have you seen it have on yours?
Well, both of my kids are really different. My older one is a little more introverted. My younger one is a little more extroverted. So the journey's been different for both of them. The move to El Paso was really, really tough for our oldest son, but he made it through, and it took some time, but he found his group of friends, and he's had a great football career and a great basketball career at his high school, and now he's a freshman at Ole Miss, and he's 17 hours away from home, and he's he already knows how to meet people because he's already had to do it, So I think that's where we're going to see the biggest benefit is now that he's off on his own, he can meet new people. He can, get comfortable quicker and faster than most of the other kids can because he's had to do it more than once. So, it's hard, but it definitely makes them stronger people and makes them, more social, and it gets them out of their comfort zone. So, and I'm a little more introverted. And so it's taught me how to, how to get out of my comfort zone and try to be a good friend to people. So.
And then how do you stay grounded and steady through these storms in terms of, the highs and lows of basketball? Y'all have so many games. I mean, we have 12, right?
Yeah.
Plus bowl game. But you guys, I mean, you'll have a midweek loss or whatever, and you got to turn back around and not kind of ride the high and low. How do you manage not riding these highs and lows?
So our rule kind of in our family is, you get the night to either celebrate or you get the night to, be upset about the loss, whatever it is. And then when the sun comes up the next morning, you've got to turn the page and you got to get ready for the next. Because you're right. In basketball, you're playing at least 2 games a week. So you can't dwell on a loss. You've got to turn the page and move on. And so that's kind of been our rule in our family, is that's how we deal with it. And, for the kids and for me and for my husband, for all of us, because, the kids have to go to school the next day. They have to listen to their friends. And so, they've developed some tough skin. I've developed tough skin, and I don't know how my husband does it. He's amazing. The coaches are amazing because everybody has an opinion. Everybody thinks they, know better than he does or whatever. And he just takes it with a grain of salt, and he's humble and kind no matter what. So I don't know how he does it.
Their jobs are so hard. I mean,
lots of pressure.
Hard. And things that we don't talk about a whole lot, which is all of us, there's amazing student athletes, and they have to pick starters, and they have to make roster decisions. And then that is the hardest thing, because we all get emotionally tied to certain, all of our players, but you're just like, oh, I would, and it's hard because they're making really tough decisions through the whole time, not just like what the media hears, not just the negativity that can come in through the outside. It's hard decisions every day.
Yes, it's all the behind the scene things that nobody knows about. And, these are 18 to 24-year-old kids, and that you're trying to help become successful young men, and there's a lot more than just basketball that goes into it. These kids have families too, and they have school, and they have, friendships, and they're just trying to navigate life, and you're trying to be people that help them navigate life. And, it's not all about basketball, but you got to win though, you got to win to keep your job. So you do what you got to do.
Okay. So what are some of the mentors maybe that you've had along the way, or best piece of advice you've collected?
Just the past 4 years that we've been here, one of our assistant coaches, his wife, her name is Cindy Cox. She's been kind of all over the country. They've been at several different jobs. She's been at some really high major jobs, and she has taught me a whole lot in the last 4 years, from, giving me recipes that the kids are going to love, the players are going to love, to just ideas on what I can do as a coach's wife to support the kids and to support the staff. And so she's been really great since we've been at UTEP, and I appreciate her so much. My sister-in-law is also a head coach's wife in the football world. And she, it's great to see the things that she does. And I'll get to learn from her, and she's at a higher level than we are. And so she's got a really big responsibility as a coach's wife. And so I see the things that she does, and, I try to, steal some of her ideas. And, we're just normal people, and we're just trying to do the best job that we can. And I just try to be, visible to our players. We have them over to our house a lot for dinner, for get-togethers, for cookouts. I try to go by practice, once every 2 weeks or so. And, I just want them to know that I'm there for them. If they ever need anything, they can always reach out, and our house is always open for them to come over and just chill or eat or whatever they want to do.
So there's some things obviously that you have to be doing behind the scenes. I mean, he went from high school, did you say community college, right?
Yes, a little stint in community college.
And then FCS Division One.
Mm-hmm.
And here you are. Your family's having tremendous success. So it's not just the husband, and don't tell me it's just him. You have something to do with this. So what are you doing behind the scenes that's really making this thing flow for you guys?
Well, I mean, I keep our household running, he, take that burden off of him. And, I'm there for the kids, all their activities, and to do everything, that they need. And he's a wonderful dad. He is there for them as well, but obviously he can't be at everything because he's working. And so I've tried really hard to make my kids, a priority, and make our household a priority, because, I want my husband to not have to worry about things that are going on at home, to be able to focus on his job. And then I just try to be a great support system for him. He can't really talk about all the things with, everybody, but he knows that I'm a safe space. I'm not going to tell anybody what he tells me. And so I just try to be, a good support for him, and, be a sounding board for him. And sometimes I listen, and sometimes I give my opinion, whether it's wanted or not. But
do you give your opinion to him sometimes?
Oh, of course. Yes. Yeah. And our oldest son is probably his biggest critic. I mean, that's the funny thing. He'll be like, Dad, that is not going to work. Like, you're going to change that up. Or he'll be like, Dad, today was a rough day for you on Twitter. So he keeps his dad very humble and very grounded, and it's kind of funny. So
it is interesting, coaches' kids, because they see through everything. They know exactly who you are, and they know everything, and there's no one that loves you more than your children like that, who, when you've raised them like this, and they want you to succeed. So, I think it's really neat. I was interviewing somebody on this podcast. Oh, it was Vanderbilt's head baseball wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually goes in the office like every day. And because she said, the higher you get in this profession, the more people don't tell you the truth. I mean, the outside world will, but like the people that know your culture can sometimes just not tell you, hey, there's a little gap here. But it's interesting that I've noticed how coaches' kids, and how they'll say things where it's a really neat thing when your kids are in alignment with you as a family, and say, hey, and it's neat when the parents go, hey, that's a great idea. That's great, especially in some of the areas of like social media, and some fun things that they, ways they can connect with the players. Because when you get to our age, our kids are old enough to know what's working with this age group.
Right.
It's a neat thing.
Definitely their dad's biggest fan. So
yes,
biggest fan, biggest critic.
And that's so funny. Okay, so you said something offline that I want to ask you about, if you have any advice to give me. You said you did travel baseball, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a very unscripted question, but do you have any tips or tricks for we coaches' wives who are navigating? Mine plays travel softball, and there's, our kids, it's their shot to be in athletics as well. And the husband or the spouse, maybe it's another one, it's really hard to manage all of that. How did you manage the whole travel sports life and being a head coach's wife?
Yeah, it is hard. And it's hard because you do a lot of that alone, like, you've got friends who are going on the travel baseball trip with, it's the whole family, the husband, the wife, all the kids.
Always.
And it's usually just me.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that's great about that is it's quality time that I get to hang out with my youngest. It's just him and I, and we get to, travel together, stay in the hotel together. And so we've got some really good hours under our belt together, but it is hard. I would say, find a village, because that village is gonna help you. And we've been fortunate here. Chase, he's our youngest. He got connected with a travel ball team here that they they are like family. They're amazing. They would do anything for Chase. They will take him if I can't take him on the trips, and he feels comfortable staying with them and being with them. They're very, very generous. And so we're very appreciative of that. But my biggest piece of advice, I guess, is really just try to find you a little village that is willing to help you out. So that's the only way we've survived.
Yes. Okay. So when you guys talk about big career decisions, how do you navigate that? And you go, okay, we're going to make the move to El Paso. Obviously, it's kind of a no-brainer because it's a huge opportunity. But I'm sure there's things that come along where you went, maybe not. I mean, you don't have to give any specifics here. Obviously, you probably shouldn't. But how do you go through big career decisions?
Definitely lots of prayer. And I will say right before we moved to El Paso, I prayed a lot, because he didn't get the job immediately, so I was praying, Lord, if this is where you want us to be, then please let this work out, let the door open. If it's not what it's meant to be, please close the door, just let us know that this is not where we need to go. And I felt a tremendous amount of peace before we moved here. And so that, that was a sign to me that we're doing the right thing. And sometimes, your coach, your husband can get wrapped up in the world of, oh, it's a good move. It's a bigger move. It's more money. And, that's what, I need this step to go to the next step or whatever it is. And sometimes you have to pull them down and ground them and say, okay, yes, but there's a bigger picture here. There's 2 kids that we have to think about. And there's, all the things, So again, we just really rely on each other, and we talk it out. We, write down the pros and the cons. I know that's cheesy, but we do.
Yeah.
And, just weigh the pros and cons, write them down, talk about it. And like I said, pray hard about it.
Yeah. How do you keep him encouraged if there's been a job he has wanted and didn't get? Again, no specifics here. Could have been your first job issue went after, 10 years ago, whatever it was, 15. I'm not doing math very well right now, but maybe 20. I don't know, but
20 years. So
okay, so like 20 years ago. Yeah. So how do you keep him encouraged? Because if we're being real, we've all applied or thought we were getting something that we didn't quite get. No one's had a absolutely perfect straight path. I mean, you're just tracking really, really well, but everybody's had something where you thought, oh man, I thought that was going to work out for our family, and it didn't.
Sure, yeah.
And that's really hard on the coach specifically. I think we are like, oh, we're good here and everything.
Right. Yeah. We don't have to up and move. We don't have to change.
Right. But the husband sometimes go, man, I thought that was where our next step would be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever faced that decision or had others in your life that you've helped them navigate that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I believe everything happens for a reason. And, I'm not saying that we've never been disappointed, because we have. And, that's just a part of life. You don't always get what you want. And you just have to trust that God knows what you need and knows where you're supposed to be. And just, I always tell my husband, I'm always like, you know what, that obviously was not the place we were meant to be. That's not where we needed to be. It's not where we needed to go. And so, after a little bit, he comes to realize that too. And always, it may be 5 years later, 10 years later, but you look back and you go, see, that's why that didn't work out, or that's why this worked out and that didn't. So, after you've been through it a few times, then you start to really trust the process even more, because you're like, okay, we've seen how this is played out, and it's played out the way it's supposed to all along. And so we're just going to trust that it's going to keep playing out that way. So
that's right. God orchestrates our steps. Okay. So how do you maintain balance in this life that never slows down? Your seasons are long. They start October. They don't end until first week of April sometimes, right? Yeah. In March. You play through holidays. You play through Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah. That's the worst part, is not really getting your holidays.
Yeah.
Especially if you live far away from family, that's hard. And it'll be interesting for us this year, because like I said, we've got a kid in college. And so I'm already thinking about Thanksgiving. We have a tournament in Florida, or, we're playing like I don't know what it is, a jamboree or something in Florida. And then I'm like, how am I going to get Kason from Ole Miss to Florida? Is it even going to work out? And so, but yeah, it's just, it's hard to navigate. but you just do it, you don't have a choice. And up until now, both of my boys have also played basketball. And so that season is just crazy. There's times I would go to like 6 to 8 basketball games in a week, whether I'm watching high school JV, high school varsity, college, so it's just a whirlwind during basketball season, but it's fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's awesome.
Do you personally love basketball, or did you grow to love it? Like, has it always been, did you grow up a family that loved college basketball?
Not necessarily. I didn't grow up loving college basketball, but I've always loved sports. Yeah. And I do love basketball. Like if I have to pick a sport, that's my sport. I didn't play it, of course, but and
you're not talking about, you were a cheerleader at SMU.
I was a cheerleader all through, middle school, high school. I cheered 1 year in college. So I love basketball because it's indoors. So you don't have to worry about the weather elements. It's never cold or rainy or snowing so I love that it's indoors. I love that it's fast paced. And, I like having multiple games in a week, for football, man, you play that one game and you have to wait a whole nother week to play another one. And sometimes, it's great if if you're winning, you can celebrate all week. But if you didn't win, it kind of makes for a long.
It does. It's heavy for days, and you're like, oh, I've got to let this go away.
Yeah, so that's what I like about basketball. So
if a game goes well, I have noticed, instant right away. If it's gone bad, I usually give them 24 hours. I know a lot about college football, and I love to hear thoughts on what what happened, or what was that really a holding call or whatever. I mean, do you give him like a few hours after a game before you ask him questions? I mean, is that kind of how you do the same thing?
Yeah. So like if he wins, we all stay after the game and we listen to his press conference and we celebrate. If he loses, we get in the car and we go home. We don't stick around. And then it's usually a late night. If it's a loss, it's a later night. So he won't come in till I may already be in bed, So it's typically the next day that we may or may not talk about it, So sometimes what happened is obvious, It's not much to talk about, but I just kind of let him navigate that with me. If he wants to talk about it, then he will. If not, then we'll just move on.
I had to learn that the hard way though, because I'd been a sports anchor covering college football. So I had so many questions. And then one time he was a head coach who came in after a loss, and I was like, I had my questions ready. Like, I'm really curious what happened here. And he was just like, oh, I'm going to get this from you too. And I'm like, no, I just really want to know. Anyway, we ended up winning the title, so it's all okay. But it's funny because you had to learn. I had to learn. I was like, I wasn't coming at you. It was just pure curiosity here.
Right. Know what happened.
He has to have a safe space where after the media, he doesn't have to answer questions, I think. And I had to learn that the hard way, like going, okay, you like a little bit of cushion time between when I get my questions answered. And so now he's learned where, I don't even ask questions in here. He knows that I want to know. So like after Wild Tuesday, be like, well, you want to know what happened on fourth down? I'm like, yes, I do want to know what happened on fourth down. It was good too. Like, I really want to know what's going on. So do you enjoy the recruiting aspect of it? I love the recruiting aspect. How involved with you are like a recruiting business and stuff?
So I like recruiting because it gives you a chance to really have some personal one-on-one time with the kids. Because typically, I know football's a little different, but for basketball, you usually only have one or maybe two kids that are, in on a visit. So, we do a lot of like, they'll come over to our house and eat dinner. And so you really get to kind of know them really well. And definitely if there's a mom that comes with them, then I'm typically always involved in that, just, because I want her to have somebody to talk to and relate to. And I like to think that I'm helpful on these recruiting, dinners and events, because I put my little plug in, and so like if that kid ends up coming here, I'm always like, well, it's because I told the mom that, this or this. I like to take a little credit for it sometimes.
Same. I do think we play a part, though. We really do.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you have to think, if you were taking your own kids somewhere, like, you would love to see, the coach and his wife and his family dynamic, and you feel like you get to know the coach and his family on a personal level. I mean, I think that makes a big difference.
It is. And it's so neat when you build these relationships and then you have them while they're here. And then after they've graduated,
Yes.
Those parent relationships, sometimes they'll text me, go, guess what? He's married now, and they're having their first kid. And it's so neat. I remember when they were 18 on the recruiting visit. It's really a special thing to see, because you built a relationship early on.
Yes, the journey is really, that's the best part of this, I think. Because you've got kids that, they may only be here 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, but they grow so much while they're here. And then it's so great to see them, either go on and play professionally or go on and have a career, and then they become husbands and fathers. And that's just really neat to see. And then sometimes they come back and they work for you,
that's even better.
Yeah. So we have a GA, and then we have an assistant coach on our staff right now that played for my husband at Abilene Christian. And I love that.
I love that. That is so neat. Okay. So what are some of the things that you enjoy doing for your staff and players? You have them over. What about your staff?
So, again, basketball staff is different than football. Y'all have
a lot smaller.
Yeah, you guys have a huge staff, and we have quite a bit smaller staff. I'm excited this year because I have a little bit more coaches' wives this year than I've had in the past. So I'm really excited about that. I always try to get us all together before the season, and then obviously throughout the season. And I try to be as supportive as possible. We're all in different stages of life. So, we have a brand new coach's wife that has a little 1-year-old. And then, there's me with my 2 teenage boys. And then we have Cindy, who I was talking about earlier, who's both her kids are grown and gone. And so we're just in different stages of life. So we just, we're going to try to be there for each other and support each other. And yes, we have the team over to the house a lot. In fact, I have some workers out in my backyard. We're putting in like a little putting green in this area that we could not get any grass to grow or anything. And so we thought that would be something fun for the players to have when they come over here, just a little putting green area. And then when recruits come over, and so, we open our home up, we feed them, we do whatever we need to do, whatever we can do.
Do you enjoy cooking?
No. Because you had asked for a recipe, and I do have one I'm going to share with you, but when I told my husband that, he just laughed. He goes, "You don't cook." I'm like, "No, I know. I'm not good at it. I've never been good at it." But Cindy, the other coach's wife with me, she's great at it. And so she will help me out, or she'll make her own stuff, but we cater a lot because
there's so many.
It's so hard. They eat so much, and it's so hard to feed all those people. So we mostly cater, but there's a few things that I contribute. So
love it. Okay. So what would you say is the most rewarding aspect to you about being a coach's wife?
Well, like I said before, seeing the seeing the players, from where they start to where they finish is always amazing and rewarding. And you hope that you've touched their life in some way along the way. But I would also just say the overall journey of it all for our family. Like I said, we've gotten to know, we've met people we would have never met had it not been for college basketball. We've gotten to go places and do things that we never would have been able to do had it not been for college basketball. We lived in Abilene for 10 years, and that was a hard place for us to leave. But since I've left, every year, me and about 10 other women from Abilene, we go to Port Aransas, and we rent a beach house, and we spend about 4 days together. And, we have dance parties in the kitchen. We cook together. We sit on the beach together. We share life together. And those ladies are super special to me. And I would have never, ever met them had it not been for college basketball. So, it's just the whole journey is what makes it.
Okay, before we hit rapid fire questions, I had an idea. You have experienced something that some wives will never get to experience, which is the ultimate press conference when you're named head basketball coach.
Yes.
What is that? What was the interview process like? And then when you found out, what was it like to find out and pick out the outfits and head to El Paso?
It was super stressful because thankfully my mom was in town when it happened, and we got the call, you got the job. Well, no, not a knock to Abilene, Texas, but it is not the fashionista capital of the world. There's not a lot of places you can just run and get a navy and orange outfit and have it ready to go. So I ended up finding something, and I mean, it wasn't great. But somebody came and picked us up in Abilene on their private plane and flew us down here. And it was a whirlwind of about 48 hours. And I don't know if it was, the altitude is higher here. So I don't know if that was it or if it was just nerves, but we were here for like 48 hours, and I did not feel well pretty much the whole time we were here. I was kind of nauseous, and then I was having nosebleeds. And so I was like, this is not a good start. And it was the year after COVID. So we were having to wear masks. And so all of our pictures that we have from the press conference, we're all in masks. And but it was great because everybody was so kind here. They were so nice, so sweet. And it was great, even though I didn't feel well. And I was looking through pictures the other night, and I have this picture of me. Literally, I just was passed out on the bed, and I took a selfie because I sent it to my friends, and I was like, I am exhausted. I'm worn out. I'm not sure that this is the right thing for us. But then it turned out, and it was great. It was very stressful, but it was fun. And my kids thought it was amazing getting on the private plane.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So anyway, but
what a neat thing. And you guys have really adapted to the community here, and people love you guys. I saw you didn't get to see me, but we were at some sort of event, and you walked in the door and you walked over, and people were flooding all the way around you. Really special to see that. And the El Paso community has been really neat. We've only been here since February of this year, but it's been a really neat place to be. And they love their UTEP sports here, and that's so refreshing.
Yes.
It means a lot to these El Pasoans.
It does. And I always tell, our recruits and their families, I'm like, listen, you're going to come here and you're going to get to play in front of a huge crowd every game. And the people in the community are going to support you and love you. I said, you're going to be treated like a mini celebrity here. I said, you're going to love it, and people are going to take care of you. And so that is a big recruiting tool, is because El Pasoans really do love their UTEP sports. And now sometimes they're a little overcritical, but we appreciate them, and they're great. They're a great fan base.
Rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I guess.
Who is the most famous person in your phone?
I wish I could say somebody like Taylor Swift or something, but I don't have it. I don't have a good one for you. In the coaching world, my brother-in-law is Sonny Dykes, the head football coach at TCU, so he's in my phone. Chris Beard is the head basketball coach at Ole Miss. He's in my phone, but I don't hang with the famous people, so I don't know.
Okay. What's the one item on your bucket list that's been checked off and one still to go?
As far as the coaching world, seeing my husband coach a game in the NCAA tournament was a bucket list, and I've gotten to see it 3 times. And then the next bucket list item was I want to see him win a game in the NCAA tournament, and he did that. And so, I guess my next bucket list is to, just to see him go even further, the Sweet 16, or, obviously to win a national championship would be a huge bucket list. But like I told you earlier, I wish I could relive that NCAA tournament win every day. It was the best feeling for the players, for the coaches, for our family. It was amazing. So,
who are the last 3 people you have texted?
Well, my phone's been lighting up as we've been sitting here. I have a friend group here. There's about 6 of us that we basically text pretty much all day, every day, just all kinds of things. We all have a kid that just recently got dropped off at college, so we've been texting all morning. The head football coach at Coronado, we've been texting. I'm the booster club president for the football team at Coronado, so we've been texting this morning. And then my husband. So
there you go. Okay, funniest account you follow on Instagram?
I don't have one. I'll take some recommendations, but I don't have one. If I need some comedy relief, I'll just start scrolling through TikTok or the little reels on Instagram, but I don't have one specific one that I follow.
Okay, what about your life impresses your kids the most?
Oh, wow. I think the fact that we just get to live the life that we get to live is impressive to my kids. Like I said, they've gotten to do things and meet people that they would have never gotten to meet or see. And I think that they just enjoy that that's what our life is, and they don't take it for granted. So
what would be your walk-up song?
Maybe Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi.
Accurate. I get it. Thank you so much. This has been a joy to get to know you, Amanda.
It has been so much fun. Thank you for having me. I hope I did okay.
Mix up, everybody.
Go Miners.
This podcast is brought to you by Ruler of Hope. Ruler of Hope is a nonprofit that supports medically fragile children. If you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation, you can use Venmo at Ruler-Hope or online at rulerofhope.org.
For a replay of this episode or previous episodes, visit coacheswifelife.org and follow us on social media at Coaches Wife Life.